Welcome, curious minds. We're diving deep today, really getting into the thick of it, with NBA preseason predictions, roster moves, and all that award speculation that gets everyone talking before the season even starts.
Yeah, and look, you don't need to sift through tons of articles. We've done that for you. We're taking all those insights, everything from Bleacher Report forecasts to the latest trade buzz, and breaking down what really matters for the 2026 season.
Exactly. Today we're looking at award contenders, some maybe surprising team predictions, and those juicy player movement rumors that could really shake things up.
So if you're a fan looking for the real scoop, maybe some unexpected nuggets, and just a clear picture of what's happening and why, you're in the right place.
Definitely. We'll jump from early award favorites to some tough starting lineup choices for contenders, why one team feels kind of disrespected already, and then dig into some interesting player moves internationally and on the trade block.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with a look into the future, specifically Bleacher Report's take on the 2026 NBA awards. And what's cool is they're not just naming favorites, but also sleepers and wild cards. It's never too early for this stuff, right?
Right. It forces you to look beyond the obvious names, think about narratives, team situations. Like, for Rookie of the Year, the favorite seems almost decided already.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg, Dallas Mavericks, everyone's calling him a lock, which is, a lot of pressure for a rookie.
Well, the reason is pretty clear. Coach Jason Kidd plans to have him run point while Kyrie Irving's out. That's a huge opportunity.
It really is. Giving a rookie those kinds of keys, especially on a team with expectations like Dallas. It says a lot about Flagg, but also about their plan, maybe.
Really?
High production, defensive playmaking potential right away.
Exactly. The volume will be there. It's less about his talent, which is obvious, and more about just meeting those big expectations. Now, the sleeper pick for ROI is interesting. Trey Johnson with the Washington Wizards.
Okay. Not Ace Bailey. Why Johnson?
It really comes down to role and need, his shooting and scoring ability. The Wizards desperately need a primary scorer, someone who can just get buckets. Johnson could be that guy.
So necessity creates the opportunity. You might just get a ton of shots on a team that needs points. Makes sense.
Yeah, high usage could lead to big numbers, even if the team isn't winning a ton.
Yeah.
And for the wild card, Igor Dimon with the Brooklyn Nets.
Dimon. Okay, I remember the draft night reaction was kind of mixed on him.
Yeah, a lot of people were surprised. But his summer league, he showed some real off-ball offensive skills, maybe better than advertised. And even though the Nets drafted other creators, he's expected to get a solid role.
So he could surprise with some decent scoring and assist numbers.
Exactly. That unexpected production is what makes him a wild card. Could definitely catch some eyes.
Okay, moving on. Clutch Player of the Year. This one always feels a bit random, depends so much on game situations. The favorite is Anthony Edwards' Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, and this makes sense. Remember how many close games the Wolves played last year? Second most clutch minutes in the league. There were 20 and 26 in those games.
Right, they were always in nail-biters, but didn't always close them out.
Precisely. So the opportunity is definitely there for Edwards. He takes the big shots. If he just improves his efficiency in those moments, which he's totally capable of, he's a prime candidate. It's almost built into how they play.
More clutch minutes means more chances.
Yeah.
Got it. The sleeper is Trae Young in Atlanta.
Yeah, he had a top 5 usage rate in the clutch last year, so the ball's always in his hands. The issue was efficiency. His effective field goal percentage was under 45% in those clutch moments in 2024-25.
Oof, that's not great.
No. But the theory is with better spacing around him this year, maybe those shots get easier, his efficiency goes up, and he starts getting more recognition for hitting big shots.
Makes sense. Better team construction helps the star. And the wild card. Tyler Herro, Miami Heat.
This one's interesting. His clutch three-point shooting was rough last year, like 19%. Really hurt Miami sometimes.
19%? Wow.
Yeah, but the addition of Norman Powell might give them a clearer secondary pecking order, take some pressure off Herro. Plus, the Heat are usually good, but maybe not great enough to blow teams out, meaning more close games, more crunch time for Herro to potentially redeem himself.
A potential comeback story there. Okay, let's shift to Sixth Man of the Year. Bleacher Report has a joint favorite.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter or Max Strus from the Cleveland Cavaliers. The award now often goes to key bench guys on good teams who can also close games. Whichever one of those two doesn't start, probably Hunter is a strong candidate. Strus is there as a backup pick.
And you mentioned this is a good transition.
Perfect transition, actually, because injuries are forcing the Cavs to figure out their starting lineup right now. Let's hold off on the rest of the awards for a sec and dive into the Cavs situation.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So the Cavaliers are dealing with injuries that are shaking things up before opening night, right?
Big time. Max Strus has a Jones fracture in his foot. That's 3 to 4 months before he can even resume basketball activities. It's significant. And Darius Garland had foot surgery, so he's out for a few weeks to start the season.
Wow, okay, so no Garland, no Strus for opening night against the Knicks on October 22nd. That's rough.
It is, but they still have their core three healthy, presumably. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Those guys are locks to start.
Right, so the questions are at small forward and the other guard spot. Let's start with small forward. Seems like there's a pretty clear favorite there now.
Yeah, the argument for DeAndre Hunter is really strong. He's arguably one of their 5 best players, fits their needs perfectly with his defense and developing offense. Many think he should be starting anyway.
And Strus's injury basically makes it an easy call for Coach Atkinson.
It should, plus the numbers back it up. When Hunter plays the 3, the Cavs have been way better, like 12.5 points per 100 possessions better defensively compared to when he played the 4. That's a huge difference.
That's pretty definitive. So Hunter at the 3 seems like the move. What about the other guard spot, replacing Garland? Strus would have helped there too, right?
Exactly. Strus wasn't just a shooter. He was a connector, moved well off the ball. Losing him and Garland leaves a big playmaking and shooting hole next to Mitchell.
So who fills that? Sam Merrill. He can shoot, right?
He can definitely shoot. Elite movement shooter, maybe even better than Strus in that specific area. But the problem is, starting Merrill puts a massive playmaking load on Donovan Mitchell. You risk burning him out before the playoffs.
You definitely don't want that. Need Mitchell fresh.
And the stats show Merrill was better at the 2 than the 3 anyway. So, okay, Merrill shoots, but who helps Mitchell run the offense? One name floated kind of out there is Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo. Really, given his injury history.
Huge if, massive if. But hypothetically, he brings defense, size, and elite passing. A lineup of, say, Ball, Mitchell, Hunter, Mobley, Allen. That's potentially locked down defensively and still really good offensively. But again, can he even play consistent minutes? That's the million-dollar question.
Okay, so Ball is a long shot. Any other realistic options, Craig Porter Jr.?
Probably unlikely to start, so it's tricky. But, some folks think these injuries forcing Hunter to the 3 and maybe Merrill into a bigger role at the 2 could actually be good long-term, forces them to find the right roles.
A silver lining, maybe. So when Garland comes back, what's the ideal starting 5 then?
The thinking is Garland, Mitchell, Hunter, Mobley, Allen. This is Hunter's chance to really grab that starting small forward spot and not let go. Strus, when he eventually returns way down the line, might actually be better suited as a high-impact 6th man off the bench.
Interesting. Could make them deep in the long run. Okay, let's jump back to the awards quickly before we move west. Most improved player.
Another split favorite from Bleacher Report, Benedict Mathurin or Andrew Nembhard for the Pacers. With Tyrese Halliburton out injured, one of them has to step up big time offensively.
Right, opportunity knocks.
Mathurin might start, bring the scoring punch, but Nembhard, after his playoff performance, could end up running more of the offense, maybe becoming playoff Nembhard full-time.
Necessity driving improvement. Sleeper for MIP.
Trey Murphy, New Orleans Pelicans. Look, they added Fears, Queen, Poole. He seems kind of buried. But the Pels always have injuries. Queen's already hurt. Murphy will get chances.
Yeah, the comparison is.
A Tyrese Maxey year 3 to year 4 scoring jump. Going from role player to potential all-star level scoring. That'd be huge for him.
Wow. Okay, and a wild card.
Reed Shepherd, Houston Rockets. Second-year MIP winners are rare. Monta Ellis was the last big one. But Houston adding Kevin Durant suggests a big role for Shepherd.
How so?
Durant scores, right. But he doesn't really run the offense. That leaves room for Shepherd to step in, direct things, use his passing IQ. Could be a breakout year if the Rockets take off.
Gotcha. Okay, Defensive Player of the Year. Feels like one guy owns this conversation.
Victor Wembanyama. San Antonio Spurs. It's pretty much his to lose. Generational defender. They might name the award after him someday, assuming he stays healthy and plays enough games.
Hard to argue with that. Who's the sleeper then?
Ivica Zubac, LA Clippers. He's quietly been a top rim protector, finished top 6 in voting last year. The Clippers went offense heavy this summer, so if Zubac anchors an elite defense despite that, he might get more credit.
Makes sense. Value becomes more obvious. And the wild card.
Jalen Suggs, Orlando Magic. Perimeter guys rarely win DPOY. Marcus Smart was the last one. But Suggs plays with that same intensity. He's relentless. And the Magic have a top 5 defense getting more national attention. Maybe.
It'd be cool to see a guard get it again. All right, the big one,
Yeah.
MVP.
Favorite is Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets. SGA is great, but Bleacher Report argues the Thunder are so deep, SGA isn't seen as the only reason they win. Jokic, though, he's everything to Denver, still the near-consensus best player in the world.
The narrative favors Jokic's indispensability. Sleeper.
Jalen Brunson, New York Knicks. He slipped in voting last year, playing with KT. Team was a bit up and down. But if the Knicks are near the top of the East and Brunson is driving a more varied offense under Mike Brown, his stock could rise again. Still needs to be a top 10, 15 player, obviously.
Needs the team's success to go with the individual brilliance and the MVP wildcard.
Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic. What if the Magic shock everyone and grab a top 2 seed in the East? It's possible, right? Other teams might coast. If Orlando goes kaboom, Banchero with better spacing, making an all-NBA leap, he'd be the natural candidate.
That would be a fun story. Okay, let's head west now and talk about those Minnesota Timberwolves. Sounds like they're feeling a bit overlooked in the preseason predictions.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a feeling of disrespect brewing there. It stems mainly from an ESPN expert panel projection. They didn't pick the Wolves to win the finals, gave them very few votes for even winning the West, tied 4th with the Lakers.
Tied 4th. After making back-to-back conference finals.
Exactly. And in the projected standings, they had the Wolves 4th in the West with 51 wins behind OKC, Houston, and Denver. OKC projected for 64 wins, Houston 54, Denver 53. That gap feels pretty big to people in Minnesota.
I can see why they'd feel snubbed. What's the counter-argument from the Wolves side, besides the 2 straight conference finals appearances?
Well, that's the big one. Consistency at that level matters. Plus, Anthony Edwards is now seen as a consensus top 6 player, and he's still getting better. His individual growth could lift the whole team.
True. And didn't their stats last year suggest they were maybe better than their record?
Yeah, their Pythagorean win expectation, based on point differential, was 53 wins, even though they only won 49. Suggests some bad luck in close games. And remember, they made the conference finals as a 6th seed, beat the Lakers on the road in the play-in.
Good points. Plus, Edwards improved his shooting massively last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And McDaniels is rising.
Totally. Edwards became maybe the best volume three-point shooter, almost 40% on huge volume. McDaniels is an elite defender, and they added Dante DiVincenzo for depth. So the argument is, why would they regress?
Okay, so what were ESPN's reasons for projecting them lower? Tim Bontemps had some points.
Yeah, he mentioned losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker in free agency, a key rotation guy, relying more on youngsters like Terrence Shannon Jr. and Jalen Clark.
Okay, depth questions.
And concerns about the age of Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert, potential injuries, and who fills in. Like, Naz Reid isn't Gobert defensively. Rob Dillingham is a rookie, ? Plus just the overall strength of the West.
All fair points, I guess. But how does the Wolves side rebut that?
They'd argue that while losing Alexander Walker hurts defensively, Terrence Shannon Jr. might offer more offensively. Combine that with Jalen Clark's defense, maybe it's a net wash or even a slight win.
Interesting take.
And the idea they'll be worse than 49 wins without Alexander Walker feels like a complete reach, given Ant's improvement in the team's core. It just seems more likely they improve than regress. They're still at least 7 deep with Reid, DiVincenzo, Shannon.
Yeah. Feels like betting against Ant's continued rise is risky. Maybe that disrespect fuels them. Okay, let's talk player movement. Malik Beasley potentially back to Minnesota.
Yeah, this rumor is out there. Beasley had a strong year, finished 2nd for six-man. The Wolves are reportedly interested in bringing him back.
Why would he fit? What does he bring?
More shooting, more versatility. They already had a top 5 offense late last season, but you can never have enough shooting, especially when teams load up on Anthony Edwards. Beasley spaces the floor.
Makes sense. Add another weapon. But there's a complication, right? Off-court stuff.
Yeah, the gambling-related investigation has apparently impacted his market. His old team, the Pistons, could offer him more money, like $7.3 million using bird rights. Other teams like the Cavs or Knicks, pretty much just the minimum.
Where do the Wolves fit in financially?
They can offer a bit more than the minimum, maybe giving them an edge over other minimum-only teams.
So what's their play here? Wait and see.
Sounds like they might sign Bones Highland to a partially guaranteed deal first. That gives them flexibility. If the Beasley situation clears up, or if they need another guard later due to injury, they could potentially waive Highland and use that spot and money on Beasley, or maybe even Malcolm Brogdon, who they've also been linked to. Keeps options open.
Smart strategy. Okay, Shifting overseas, Kristaps Porziņģis looked dominant in EuroBasket.
He really did. Had a big game for Latvia against Estonia, 22 points, 7 boards, shot 8 for 12 in a close win. Just a reminder of what he can do when he's healthy.
And that's huge for the Atlanta Hawks, isn't it?
Massive. If Porziņģis is healthy, he's easily a top 10 center, great shooter, good post-game, rim protection. It could be a really special season for Atlanta if he stays on the court.
How does he fit with Trae Young?
Really well, theoretically. Stretches the floor for Trae's drives, gives him a log target, and Porziņģis provides that two-way presence, the rim protection they've often lacked, could really boost Trae and the whole team.
And the Hawks have added other pieces too, right? More defense.
Yeah, they've brought in guys like Jalen Johnson, who actually had the 4th most passes in the league last year, showing some playmaking flashes. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Rashett Okongwu, building a more defensively solid roster around Trae and KP.
So what's the potential ceiling for this Hawks team now?
With a healthy KP and this improved roster, they could push for a top 4 seed in the East, maybe even surprise teams like the Bucks. But there's that underlying tension with Trae Young's contract.
Ah, right. The Hawks are waiting to extend him.
Yeah, reportedly want to see how this core performs first, and apparently that's made Trae feel a little bit uneasy.
Oh.
Adds pressure to the situation for sure.
Definitely something to watch.
Okay.
Last topic. Miami Heat and Terry Rozier. Sounds like they're trying to move him but having trouble.
That's the report from Jake Fisher. Heat still hoping to trade Rozier, but interest is scant. There's also some talk about a buyout, but nothing seems close.
Why is he hard to trade now? He wasn't bad in Charlotte.
He just had a really tough, inefficient year after Miami acquired him, didn't fit well, and Miami doesn't want to attach draft picks to move him, which you usually need to do for a contract like his when the player's value is down.
So if a trade's unlikely, what about a buyout? Good for the Heat, good for Rozier.
For the Heat, it means eating salary, but clears a roster spot if he's truly out of the rotation behind Harrow, Powell, Mitchell, maybe even Giannis and Smith. For Rozier, he probably wants his full money, isn't asking for a buyout, but maybe he'd take less to get a chance elsewhere in a contract year, try to rebuild his value, maybe even back in Charlotte.
But keeping him has value too, right? Even if he doesn't play much.
Absolutely. That $26 million expiring contract is a huge trade chip at the deadline if a star becomes available. You need that salary filler. Buying him out loses that asset. Plus, apparently he's still well-liked in the locker room.
It's a tough spot. And there was that Haywood Highsmith situation adding salt to the wound.
Yeah, Fisher also mentioned the Nets might trade Highsmith later this season, potentially for a pick, which would sting Heat fans since Miami traded him basically to save money, and now he might bring back assets for Brooklyn.
Ouch. Yeah, that's rough. So lots of moving parts across the league.
For sure. Never a dull moment in the NBA offseason, even this late.
Okay, as we wrap up, think about this. Looking ahead to the 2026 season, with all these predictions and situations we've talked about, the lines between favorites, sleepers, and wild cards feel really blurry, don't they? Injuries, off-court stuff, international play, it all feeds in. So what unexpected individual leap, or maybe a team chemistry aha moment, do you think will truly define next season? Something maybe nobody's really talking about right now.
That's a great question to chew on. There are always surprises, always narratives that emerge that we just didn't see coming. It's what makes following the league so much fun.
It really is. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into the NBA buzz. Hopefully you feel a bit more informed and ready for the season ahead.
Yeah, lots to keep an eye on.
Remember to check out our other episodes for more deep dives into the topics that matter to you.